Welcome to Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. I'm Darf Mike, and I've been out here moisture farming on the surface of Tatooine for weeks now. And in addition to those precious droplets of water I found, I've also dug up a whole bunch of news. So let's get into it. Keeping it in universe, apparently a new Star Wars Knights of the Republic game is in development somewhere out there. We don't know much about it yet, but it has been a long time since there's been an installment in this beloved franchise. Specifically, all the way back to 2004 was the last time we got a Knights of the Republic game. So it's been a while, and fans have been crying out for something more in this franchise for a long time. The problem is, the original games were made not canon when Disney took over the Star Wars cinematic universe, so this new game might be a reimagining or a remake or a reintroduction of the stories from the first two games. Whatever it is, it's not going to be made by EA or BioWare. They have apparently got no hands in it. It's an entirely new studio that's working on it, and the only thing we know about that studio is that industry insiders have said that nobody is ever going to guess who it is. So that's not a lot of information to go on, but trust that whenever new news does come down the pipeline, we'll be using our four senses to reach out and read it to you. Speaking of remakes, there's a big one in the works. They're remastering Diablo II, the most beloved game in the Diablo franchise, and that's exciting news. What's more exciting is the team that's just been tasked with the remaster is Vicarious Visions, or the team that was Vicarious Visions before they were subsumed by Blizzard Activision. If you're not familiar with Vicarious Visions, they just successfully remastered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and made a beautiful, loving restoration of that game for a new era. So there's cause for excitement. Now, the cause for pessimism is that it's being made by Activision Blizzard, who just bungled Warcraft 3 Reforged. So on the one hand, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remaster, great. Activision Blizzard Warcraft 3 remastered, terrible. What's Diablo 2 gonna turn out to be? Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Psychological horror thriller game The Medium is out now, and it looks all kinds of spooky. With hauntingly beautiful artwork, you play as a character who can venture between two worlds that are rendered simultaneously, using your powers as a psychic medium to explore what looks to be an abandoned hospital and discover a spooky world reminiscent of the Upside Down from Stranger Things. All in all, it looks terrifying, spooky, and all kinds of hauntingly beautiful. If you're in the mood to have your heebies-jeebied, here's the game for you. Microsoft are hitting the rewind button. After initially announcing a massive price hike for Xbox Live Gold subscriptions that would have seen the price increase over 100% for a year of Xbox Live, they've been forced to walk back the statement and actually revert to the old pricing scheme after a massive community backlash. Not only that, but they've actually given up a concession in turn, saying that free-to-play games would no longer require a live subscription to play online. It's one victory for the consumers and a massive blunder for whoever thought it was a good idea to declare this kind of a massive price increase all at once. It was clearly a move from Microsoft aimed at shuffling customers towards their new flagship product, Game Pass Ultimate, but it was always going to be a massive PR disaster, and they had to have known that. In an interview with New Zealand's One News, Gabe Newell discussed his vision for a future of video games with brain-computer interfaces, and let me just tell you, that vision is wild. Now, brain-computer interfaces are basically a band that would take your brain's impulses and incorporate those into control for gaming. If you're trying to imagine what this would look like, think of the brain dance wreaths from Cyberpunk, but in reality. And Gabe thinks this is a near future technology that will allow them to take video games and make them not just lifelike, but better than life. More vivid colors, more real experiences going straight into your brain and completely avoiding what he described as your meat peripherals, aka your hands and eyes. It's a crazy vision for the future, and it might be here before you know it. As Newell himself said, if a software developer doesn't have one of these interfaces in their lab by 2022, they're making a huge mistake. You would be forgiven for thinking that we have slipped into a sci-fi movie at this point, because an eccentric billionaire who fled to New Zealand talking about using brain interfaces is so wild, so absolutely crazy, that it's practically a TV trope at this point. Well, that's it for us this week on Field of View with Nerd Street Gamers, your weekly dose of gaming news. Now, the Twin Suns are setting, so I better get inside and Is that a TIE fighter I hear? Oh, no, 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 no!